Now please welcome the principal coach for the Washington National Opera, Ken Weiss.
Good evening, everybody. I'm delighted to be here tonight with the Washington National Opera's Domingo Cafritz Young Artists to give you a preview of Washington National Opera's upcoming production of Mozart's Don Giovanni, which opens September 20th. That's a week from Thursday in the Kennedy Center Opera House right behind you. Don Giovanni, as you may know, chronicles the last romantic adventures of history's greatest libertine, the man known as Don Juan in Spanish or Don Giovanni in Italian. Now, those adventures start with a bang right at the beginning of the show. Don Giovanni has snuck into the bedroom of a woman named Donna Anna on a dark night in a villa outside Seville and tried to seduce her, but things go terribly wrong. She screams. Her father comes running, and Giovanni ends up killing the old man in a duel. We are not going to show you that part because this stage is a little small for the sword fighting. We are going to skip to his next adventure. He escapes from that situation, and he goes wandering around the countryside with his servant Leporello, and he comes across a woman who is bemoaning the fact that she was abandoned by her lover. And she says, if I ever catch him, gli vo cavare il cor, I want to tear his heart out. And Giovanni says, poor girl, we really need to console her. Well, when he gets up close, he is shocked to find out that her name is Donna Elvira, and she is one of his own paramours, and the man she's complaining about is him. Thinking quickly, he gets Leporello to distract her and slips away. And when Elvira finds out that he's gone, she is crushed, but Leporello tries to console her. He says, don't worry too much. You weren't the first, and you won't be the last. And he knows this very well because his job is to keep records. He has a little book. And he has very extensive records of Giovanni's conquests by number, 640 in Italy, 231 in Germany, and of all types, princesses and marquesses and serving girls and the whole gamut. And he also tells her in a very charming minuet about Don Giovanni's very charming ways of approaching every different kind of woman. He has one strategy for brunettes and one strategy for blondes, one strategy for the older ladies and one strategy for the younger. But he says at the end, he's not really very picky. Pur che porti la gonella, voi sapete quel che fa. As long as they're wearing a skirt, you know what he does. Please welcome as Donna Elvira, soprano Maria Eugenia Antunes, as Leporello Kenneth Kellogg, as Don Giovanni Javier Arrey, at the piano Artyom Grishayev.
cos'è che il quadron non è tondo.
Sciagurato, così del mio dolor gioco ti prendi. Ah, poi, stelle, le dico fuggi ai miei salami. Dove, qual parte?
Lasciate che vada, egli non merita che di lui ci pensiate.
Sciagurato m'ingannò,
e consolatevi, non siete voi, non foste e non sarete nella prima, nell'ultima. Guardate, questo non picciol libro è tutto pieno dei nomi di sue belle. Ogni villa, ogni borgo, ogni paese è testimon di sue donesche imprese. Madamina, il catalogo è questo delle belle che amoi a padron mio, un catalogo liè che ho fatto io. Osservate, leggete con me, osservate, leggete con me. In Italia 640, in Almagna 231, 100 in Francia, in Turchia 91, ma in Spagna, son già 1.300, 1.300. Ma tra queste contadine, cavaliere cittadine, non contesse baronesse, marchesani, principesse, e bandone d'ogni grado, d'ogni forma, d'ogni età, d'ogni forma, d'ogni età. In Italia 640, in Almagna 231, 100 in Francia, in Turchia 91, ma in Spagna son già 1.300. 1.300. Ma tra queste contadine, cameriere, cittadine, contesse, baronesse, marchesane, principesse, e vanno di ogni grado, d'ogni forma, d'ogni età, d'ogni forma, d'ogni età, d'ogni forma, d'ogni età. Nella bionda, eglia l'usanza, la gentilezza, nella bruna, la costanza, nella bianca, la dolcezza. Vuol d'inverno la grassotta, vuol d'estate la madrotta, e la grande maestosa, e la grande maestosa. La piccina, 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 è ognior vezzosa, è ognior vezzosa, è ognior vezzosa, delle vecchie fa conquista, per piacer di porle in lista, ma passion predominante, giovin principiante, non si ricca se sia ricca, se sia pro, brutta, se sia bella, se sia ricca, brutta, se sia bella. Purché porti la gonnella, voi sapete quel che fa, voi sapete quel che fa, purché porti la gonnella, voi sapete quel che fa, voi sapete quel che fa, quel che fa, quel che fa. Voi sapete quel che fa.
So Don Giovanni has struck out twice in a row. He figures the third time is the charm. He's wandering through the countryside again with Leporello, and they come across a peasant wedding. And Don Giovanni, who always likes a challenge, decides to pick up the bride. Her name is Zerlina. She's engaged to be married to a young man named Mazzetto. But the Don tells her that she's far too good for somebody like him, like a country bumpkin. The Don wants to take her and marry her himself, so he says. He says, there's my castle up on the hill, and there we'll go, and there you'll give me your hand in marriage. They sing a little duet called La ci darem la mano. And Zerlina is fighting hard, but in the end, she's convinced. She says to him, andiam, let's go. And they are about to go, when who should turn up? Donna Elvira. She's been following him. And she intervenes just in time, and she sings an aria called A fuggi il traditor, flee this traitor. Says to Zerlina, you should learn from my experience. The aria is straight out of Handel, which I think is Mozart's way of telling us that Donna Elvira is an old-fashioned girl. As Don Giovanni will hear Javier Arrey again, as Zerlina, Chantal Presibilo, and Maria Eugenia Antunes will return as Donna Elvira. Here are La ci darem la mano and A fuggi il traditor.
In questo istante io ti voglio sfruttare. Certo io, quel patimento è mio, soli saremo, e la gioiello mio ci sposeremo. La ci darem la mano, ma mi dirai di sì, ed in non è lontano andiam, mio bel andiam.
Mettete a riscolar, non c'è
amor.
Fermati scellato, il cielo mi piace per io sono a tempo di salvar questa misera innocente dal tuo barbaro artiglio. Meschina, cosa sento?
Col consiglio, idol mio non fedete, io voglio divertirmi.
Divertirti? È vero, divertirti. Io so crudele come tu ti diverti. Ma signor cavaliere, è vero quel che lo dice?
La povera infelice di me innamorata, e per pietà de ciò fingere amore, io son per mia disgrazia uom di buon cuore.
Oh, c'è gravità, non lo lasciar più dir. E l'opprimento tor alla Cerciglio. Da miei tormenti impara a credere a quel cor e nasce tu timor, ma mio perillo. Ah, fuggi, fuggi, a pace creditor, non lo lasciar più dir. E l'opprimento tor alla Cerciglio. E l'opprimenti tor alla Cerciglio. Se
While all this is going on, Donna Anna, the woman whose father Don Giovanni killed in the first scene, has been scouring the countryside with her fiancé, Don Octavio, looking for her husband's murderer. You see, the man who broke into her bedroom was wearing a mask. She doesn't know who he is. And when she and Octavio encounter Don Giovanni, they ask for his help in tracking down her father's murderer. He says that he'd be only too happy to help in any way he can. But as he leaves, Anna realizes that she recognizes his voice, and suddenly it all comes back to her, and she tells Octavio the whole story, how a masked man wrapped in a cloak broke into her room, how she struggled to get away from him, how she screamed, and how her father came running, and how the unknown assailant overpowered her father and killed him. And then she says, "Orsai chi l'onore rapira me volse." Now you know who it was who tried to take my honor and who killed my father. The aria is called Orsai chi l'onore. To sing it as Donna Anna, we have Jennifer Waters. As Don Octavio, we have Yuri Gorodetsky.
Ma come fu? Narratemi lo strano avvenimento.
Ora già alquanto avanzata la notte, quando nelle mie stanze
So now there are a lot of people roaming around hunting for Don Giovanni. In fact, he throws a party at his house, they all show up, and there's a big ruckus and a big fight, and he barely escapes with his life. This would slow most people down. Don Giovanni, not so much. he decides to move on to greener pastures. He has noticed that Donna Elvira has a very pretty maid, and he sets his sights on her. And in order to woo her more effectively, he asks Leporello to trade clothes with him, so that because he feels he can be wooed more effectively in servant's garb. Well, Leporello ends up stuck with Donna Elvira, who discovers him thinking that he is her ex-lover, and that he pretends to be repentant, and he barely manages to escape with her in the dark of night. So now she's wandering around looking for him. He's wandering around figuring out how to get away from her, when who should show up but Don Ottavio and Donana, and shortly afterwards, Zerlina and Mazzetto. And they all corner him, and they are shocked to find out that the one they've cornered him is not Don Giovanni, despite the outfit. It is Leporello. And everybody is in maximum confusion. The sextet is called Sola Solo in Buoyoloco, and you will hear everybody you've already heard, plus in the role of Mazzetto, baritone Norman Garrett.
lasciatemi per carità, per carità, per carità.
Temporello, che danno è questo? Temporello, che danno è questo? Stupido resto, e mai sarà, e mai sarà, e mai sarà che mai sarà, e mai sarà.
Mille torbidi
E
pensieri
torridi pensieri
mi s'aggiran per la
mi s'aggiran per la testa.
Le torbidi pensieri mi s'aggiran per la testa, se mi salvo in tutta peste di prodigio verità.
E tornando stelle questa, stelle questa.
Se mi salvo in tutta peste di prodigio, in verità, in verità, in verità, in verità, in prodigio, in verità.
Pensata,
Torbidi pensieri
novità,
s'aggiran per la testa.
che pensata novità.
Mi s'aggiran per la testa, se mi salvo in tutta peste di prodigio, in verità. Se mi salvo in tutta peste è prodigio, in verità, è prodigio, in verità, in verità, in verità, è un prodigio, in verità. Torbidi pensieri mi s'aggiran per la testa, se mi salvo in tutta peste è prodigio, in verità.
And where's Don Giovanni while all this kerfuffle is going on? He's happily wooing Don Elvira's maid. He gets his mandolin going. You can hear it tinkling away in the right hand of the piano. And he sings a little serenade called De Vieni alla finestra, Won't You Come to the Window, where he talks about her lips sweet as honey and her heart of spun sugar. Now, the Don causes a lot of trauma as he cuts a swath through the neighborhood around Seville, but it's not all irreparable. Obviously, getting seduced at your own wedding is a problem in a marriage. But Zerlina manages to bring her husband-to-be Mazzetto around. She admits full wrongdoing and she says, you know, I deserve everything. Beat me, tear my hair out, put my eyes out. But after that, let's make peace. And she knows that he doesn't have the heart to do any of those things. And so they end up happily together as she sings, in contenta ed allegria, notte di vogliam passar. In happiness and in contentment, we will pass days and nights. So let us hear first from Javier Rey, De Vieni alla finestra, and then from Chantal Presipilo, the aria for Zerlina is called Batti Batti o bel Mazzetto. There's one member of the cast we haven't heard from in a solo capacity yet. Let's remedy that right now. It's Don Octavio, Donanna's fiancé. Don Octavio is an old-fashioned gentleman. In fact, that makes it very hard for him to believe that another nobleman, Don Giovanni, could possibly be such a vile criminal. But midway through the show, he comes around and realizes that it's indeed the case. And in the aria we're about to hear, he asks the other characters to take care of Donanna while he goes and exacts the vengeance that is his duty. The aria is called Il mio tesoro. And to sing it as Don Octavio, we have Yuri Gorodziecki. You may have gathered by now that Don Giovanni is a guy who likes to push the envelope. Towards the end of Act 2, he finds himself in a graveyard with Leporello. In fact, the graveyard where Donna Anna's father, who's called the Commendatore, is buried. And there's a statue of the Commendatore on top of the tomb. And Giovanni, pushing the envelope, decides to have some fun and tells Leporello to invite the statue to dinner at Giovanni's place. They are both shocked when the statue nods and accepts. I won't tell you what happens after that. I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise. You can see it for yourself in the Kennedy Center Opera House starting this September 20th in the Washington National Opera's production of Don Giovanni. There are 9 performances, including one on October 13th, featuring many of the same Domingo Cafritz young artists that you saw here tonight. Although we are not prepared to tell you everything that happens, we are prepared to tell you the moral of the story. And the moral of the story is questo è il fin di chi fa mal. This is the fate of those who do evil. They meet a death that befits their lives.